Hey guys, it's Billy coming back at you again from the lovely condo here in Jupiter, Florida, down here at spring training. If you guys haven't checked out the previous video, go ahead and check it out. It's my adventures in Kentucky with Melinda and a stop at Mellow Matt's Music in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So after leaving Kentucky, I shot down through Nashville. Did not stop in Nashville to do any shopping because Phonolux was closed on the day I went through, and just jetted straight down through to see my buddy Steve, Harmless Rebel, in Atlanta. Actually in Marietta, but who's counting? Little details. Ended up getting to Steve's place around a little before dinner time, probably. I can't even remember, 6:37 ish. His lovely wife and his daughter, his wife Allie and his daughter Bella, were gracious hosts. We got to hang with them that evening. We went out and had some Brazilian cuisine for dinner that night. It was really great. And then we just kind of chilled and planned our next day, which would have been Friday. So that would have been a week ago Friday. Steve and I hit all over Atlanta, as you'll see here by the stuff that I show you. Steve had planned out the places we were going to visit, and it was great. Steve was, like I said, a gracious host. Allowed me to stay at his place and crash. It was great. Thank you, Steve, for that. I can't thank you enough for everything. Dragging me around, showing me all the shops. Atlanta's a very just a very diverse city as far as what you find in vinyl. You can find some shops, and I'm sure Steve didn't take me to the shops that are kind of lower on the totem pole, if you will. But we went to all different kinds. I mean, we went from CD warehouses to a really, really nice high-end shop, really new, hip shop, Comeback Vinyl, and everything in between. So speaking of Comeback Vinyl, that was our first stop. He picked like the cream of the crop first. And it actually ended up being the furthest one away from where we were. So it worked out great. We went furthest away, started our shopping, and made our way back, which it worked out really, really well. So the first shop, like I said, was Comeback Vinyl. Here, really cool. Like I said, I try to pick up cool things like this. They actually had some matchbooks and stickers, and so I always pick up all the swag that they have at the shops. So a really, really nice, well curated shop. It's one of the shops that you would take your wife into. At least my wife. She hates going into the dingy, musty, your prototypical what you would think an older record store would be like. My wife hates that. She wants no part of it, but she'll go to these nicer new ones. So this would be a place she would have enjoyed. So this is a album that I've been looking for a long time, thanks to Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame. It's Brick, Good High. Brandon comes over on occasion, and we have music nights, so we'll just pick some music. He'll bring over some stuff, and we'll go through. We may spin a side or a whole album, or maybe just a few songs, and then the next guy, he picks something, puts something on, and the rotation just keeps on going. One night we actually had a theme, and it was, since it's Billy and Brandon, we did something stupid. Just made our theme was B, so everything had to be revolve around B. So Brandon brought this, and just an unbelievable album. Was blown away by it. Of course, I don't know which one was actually sampled in the Ice Cube. I'm drawing a blank now. As soon as I get in front of camera, everything goes blank. But Brandon will know. Somebody will say in the comments. I think Tim actually, Tim and Brad, who were my hosts the following day on Saturday, when I told them about that, they already knew. But what a great, great funk album. I've been looking for this for months and finally found a nice copy at Comeback Vinyl in Atlanta. Right off the gate, was able to find that one. Here's one that I've been looking for years, ever since I found a copy of this at Goodwill for 50 cents. A really beautiful copy for 50 cents. And I wasn't into the garage or psych, fuzz music at the time. And this is Blue Cheer's, I think it's 1969. It's their third album, New Improved. Like I said, I wasn't into that stuff. Really could have cared less at the time. So I ended up VCLTing it to Bill, Helmut Diggy. And, of course, he was really gracious for it. And I'm always glad to be able to do that. But it's really the one thing that I wish I hadn't have gotten rid of, but got it back. Got it back. And not only did I get it back, upgrade, white label promo. So really stoked to finally have that one back in the collection. So, I told you when I was showing the brick that Brandon brought over, we had that spin night with the bees. Brandon brought over Blue Cheer, self-titled. That one was really great, and of course I've been looking for that one ever since and haven't been able to find a nice clean copy, so I'm still on the lookout for that one, but glad to add that New Improved Blue Cheer to the collection. And then let's see, picked this one up, a brand new reissue of Rodriguez, coming from Reality. This is his second album from 1971. This is, trying to think, so if you haven't seen the documentary Searching for Sugar Man, I highly recommend it. You guys should definitely check that out. So this is, gosh, I forget the guy's name. It starts with an S. Sixto Rodriguez. Apparently folklore or urban legend has it that, very, very folky, very Dylan-esque, unbelievable. The stuff is great, but it was released in the United States to very, very little fanfare whatsoever. Actually, apparently didn't stir up much interest at all. And lo and behold, the guy kind of goes into obscurity and into hiding, and not even knowing that he's an international superstar. I believe in I don't know if it was Australia or South Africa. It's been a while since I've seen the documentary, but definitely check it out. It's a very, very interesting doc and well worth your time, and the music is fantastic. So I had to pick this up. So Sixto Rodriguez has a couple of albums, or had a couple of albums originally, and they're super hard to find. I'm talking like $300-400 plus originals, but this is a real nice brand new reissue. Glad I was able to pick that one up. Then I picked this up, Bad Finger, straight up. This I picked up not for myself, I picked it up for my buddy at Colin at Trusty Chords Records in Edwardsville, Illinois. Colin has always informed me to be on the lookout for a really nice, super clean OG, and on the Apple label, and I found one for a super sweet price. The only thing I can tell is it has somebody's name written very small right there on the back of the jacket, but he was fine with that. I sent him pictures. VG++ all the way around. A really, really nice, clean copy of this. So I picked that up for my buddy Colin. Then lastly, at Comeback Vinyl, I had been looking for one of these probably for about the last 6 months to a year. Mobile Fidelity, Killing Machine, Judas Priest. These have kind of gotten really hard to find. I think they're out of print. This is the MoFi number 2256, still in the shrink. 25 bucks, could not pass it up for that. I know there's, I think Mitch is still looking for one of these, if anybody knows where they're able to be had for a decent price. And I wish they would have had another one, because I would have picked it up for you, Mitch. But there's MoFi Priest killing machine. So that was everything I picked up at Comeback Vinyl. That was the first shop. Then Steve and I left there, and I think we hit up a CD warehouse where I picked up another Rodney Crowell. This is Street Language from 1986 or 87, I believe. Just another one, like I said in my previous video, this is a gold stamp promo. Like I said in my previous video, my Kentucky Finds, where I show another Rodney Crowell album that I picked up. I'm just trying to get those Texas singer-songwriters. It was one of those things that I kind of put down on my list. They're not that expensive, but some of those guys are. You know, trying to find those Ray Wiley Hubbard OGs, or some of that stuff is just crazy stupid. So anyway, glad to add this. This was like $3 at what was it? CD Warehouse. So I picked that up, and one other thing, which Steve actually found while I was looking through the vinyl. You don't see me show too many CD finds, but this is Aaron Lewis, The Road. An unbelievable, underrated, just a brilliant album. Great, great album. The LP, I do have an LP of this. It is impossible to find. It's the only one I've ever seen, and they don't ever pop up for sale anywhere. But and the CD's actually getting really hard to find. So there you go. Glad to pick that up. I think that was like $4. Glad to have that. I did not have a CD copy of that. That was a CD warehouse in somewhere in or around Atlanta. We left there and went to a really, really cool place called Mojo. Was it Mojo Vinyl? Yeah, Mojo Vinyl in Atlanta. Kind of like when you pull up, the guy had there was like a stage outside, like a little riser. And I asked Steve, I'm like, does he have bands play here? He said, yeah, on record store day he'll have bands set up, and you know, they may set up tents or whatever. But yeah, really cool little place. He actually had moved from another building into this place, which it's like a house on just off the strip. Really cool old place, but some really great vinyl in there. And the owner, I can't remember his name, but a really, really cool dude, nice guy. Let me just start off by showing this reel-to-reel, 4-track reel. This is Johnny Cash, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Of course, this has John Henry's Hammer. Just a great, great track. Pull out the, well, I won't pull it out, I'll just open it up and show you. Super clean, really, really clean reel. Glad to add that. He had 28 on it. We were able to work a deal, and it's just so clean. I talked him down to 20. I probably would have paid 25 or 28, but super glad to have that for $20. Also, Joe Ely, this is Honky Tonk Masquerade, and a little delete cut here. But just super hard to find. This is, I think, his second album, if I'm not mistaken, from 1978. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous copy. The vinyl is superb. I was glad to have this. This was in his new arrivals bin, and as soon as I pulled it out, he went, ah, good eye. So he knew his stuff. He knew that wouldn't be around too long. You never see these. I've never seen one of these. It was really, really good score right there. And then when I went back into the country section, I found from 1987, Vern Gosdin, Chiseled in Stone. Yes, I have copies of this. Yes, I have a couple different copies of this. But this is not only a great album that I would never pass up for $5, which is what he had on it, but it's a gold stamp promo. I'm always willing to grab these things because I share these. I sent one to Mitch. I'm thinking I'm going to probably send a copy to Steve. So there you go. Spoiler alert, Steve. Steve said he does not have this. He's never heard it, I don't believe. This is just a wonderful, wonderful record. As a matter of fact, when I got this, the owner was pretty shocked. I walked up to it and he was like, Vern, the voice. So I knew the guy was going to be great to get along with whenever he said that. What a great compliment and what a great album. Then I picked up a couple other Nugent things that I just don't see in St. Louis. It's If You Can't Lick 'em, Lick 'em. Another gold stamp promo. There we go. Small, other than a small little delete notch here, pretty decent shape. Love Ted amongst all the guitars. And then another Nuge, and this is from 1982, and I believe this is just a self-titled, just Nugent. And just a beautiful, beautiful copy. I mean, just clean, razor sharp, no ring wear. Beautiful copy. This was $6 or $7. Wasn't gonna leave it for that. Had to grab that one. So when I walked up to pay, the guy was checking out, and he was like, Nugent and Vern Gosdin. I can't say that I've ever sold those two combinations in the same sale. So I said, well, it's not every day that I come rolling through Atlanta. So that was Mojo Vinyl. A really great shop. I'll definitely, if I'm back through, we'll definitely have to get back in there and check that place out, Steve. From there, we ended up going to a place called Waterloo Sunset, and I believe this was the place. They all start running together after a certain amount. I believe this is the place that is in with the new Braves Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. So we go into downtown, pull into this parking garage. Well, you actually pull up in front of the new Braves baseball stadium, pull into the parking garage, and right there in the parking garage, you just walk right out into this shop, Waterloo Sunset. Kind of like a Great Escape for you Nashville folks. You know, comics, action figures, novelties of that sort, and then tons of great vinyl in there. So this was one of the Blackfoot pieces that I needed. This is the, gosh, I don't know if this would be their follow-up. This might be their third, either their second or their third album. But this is Flying High, and it is a white label promo, I believe. I know it's got the timing strip there, but yeah, there we go. Another white label promo. So I was hitting the white label promos on this trip. Glad to add that great copy of such a great band to the collection. Slowly completing that Blackfoot discography. There were a couple more that I thought when I found that one, I thought I only needed one more. I told Steve, which was the very first one, which is you don't hardly ever see it. And through our digging later, I ended up finding another one. So you saw I showed the Sixto Rodriguez album, the second album earlier that I picked up at Comeback Vinyl. Well, here I picked up his debut, Cold Fact. Again, this is the 2019. I believe it's the 2019. Yeah, those are both the 2019 reissues. So I was glad to pick that up. And then another Joe Ely. This is down on the Drag. And speaking of drags, what a freaking drag that is. So I pull the sticker off, and they use big monstrous damn stickers. The sticker was covering most of this right here. And I pulled it off, and there was another damn tear underneath. You know, I didn't do this, trust me guys, but this was already underneath. So I'm like, well, whatever. It is what it is. The vinyl's great. I just wish people would quit putting damn price stickers on the friggin' jackets. I almost cussed because this makes me mad. That's one of the biggest pet peeves I have. Record stores, quit putting price stickers on your damn jackets. Ugh, figure it out. And you know what? In their defense, I totally get why they do it. But if you're gonna do it, do like some of these stores. Like there were a couple places where I pulled these labels off. They're a nice, easy, quick release. They're not the ones that you put on there and they adhere like friggin' concrete or Gorilla Glue. Some of these don't want to come off. There are some that just stick on there and they just pop right off. I mean, they literally will pop right off. So if you're gonna do that, do that. That's gonna deter people. If you've got a sticker on the jacket and you think you've got to put it on there to stop people from switching sleeves around, pulling the old switcheroo, fine. Get some of the non-stick adhesive. You know, the ones that don't stick or adhere like rubber cement. So there's the Joe Ely. I'm pissed at this point. And lastly, at I don't even remember the name of the place. Waterloo Sunset. A beautiful copy of Nightlife, Thin Lizzy. This is one that I did not have. It's just been eluding me for the longest time. I always loved the artwork on this cover. Such a great band. Killer album. It's on that Vertigo Spaceship label. There you go. For all you label looky-loos. But there you go. Really nice copy of that. That was the last thing I ended up picking up at Waterloo Sunset. And I'm going to try flying through these here because I've still got a little bit more. After we left that, we ended up picking up Steve's daughter at school because we just spent most of the day digging. We picked up Steve's daughter at school, and then on the way home, we ended up stopping by Cobb Antique Mall. So you know you are really big time, like Jones and that's my heroin, whatever. You are a vinyl junkie if you're hitting. You've already hit all these great shops in town, and then you're like, let's swing by the antique mall and see if they've got anything. Well, lo and behold, they did. Picked this up for a song. I mean, it was like, I want to say it was like $6 or $8, but it's Peter Kokkonen. I guess I hope I'm saying that right. Peter Kokkonen, Black Kangaroo. I had no idea what this was, but I know being on the Grunt label, of course with Jefferson Airplane, it was going to be something bluesy and trippy and really great. Apparently he's a guitar player, very much blues rock. I went and looked it up and found some of his stuff on YouTube, the 1 or 2 samples that they had on Discogs, that of course link you to YouTube, and it sounded great. Picked it up. This is a pretty hard to find record. It's not super valuable, but you know, you're talking $30, $40 record, and this is sealed. I don't know if I'm going to keep it sealed or not. I may actually just maybe keep this one or sell it and then get another open copy. I hate opening sealed copies of like super hard to find expensive records. I really hate doing that unless the shrink is compromising the integrity of the vinyl, but this one's not. I don't know. I may end up opening this because, like I said, it's not a super expensive album. It's about a $30 or $40 album. I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy the music, and I know I'll have a mint copy. I may just go ahead and just open it, bite the bullet, be done with it. But glad to find that one for like I said, $8. Then I grabbed another sealed copy of La Bamba. You guys know, if I told you the story of the little bit of catastrophe we had there in the my music room 6 months or so ago when the water came down on top of my jukebox, and the only thing I hadn't moved at the time was my jukebox, and in front of my jukebox were my soundtracks and comedy records, so I ended up losing the majority of those. So I was happy to be able to replace this. I love this soundtrack. Such a great movie. A nice sealed copy, gold stamp promo as well on that one. This was $5. Then, lastly, a original, really nice John Prine self-titled debut. Not only is it the self-titled debut, but it is the first Monarch pressing, which is the I believe is the most desirable pressing out there. But this is just getting harder and harder to find. This was $8. I think it was either $8 or $5. I think this and the La Bamba were $5. So I definitely couldn't believe that. That was a great score. So then we ended up leaving. We went back to Steve's place and ended up having dinner. And then, no, we didn't. We ended up going back to Steve's place, dropping his daughter off with his wife. They hung out with some friends for the evening, and we hit one more place. We hit up Albums, which is the place that we went to last year when I came home from spring training. Steve and I ended up meeting there. There's a little place down the street. We had lunch, and then we went up to Albums and did a little bit of shopping on my way through back home. But glad to stop there. The gentleman who had been running the shop previously that we met last year, he was so nice. He had unfortunately passed away earlier this year, and so the shop is closing. So everything is, I think all the used vinyl was 50% off, and I think new was 25% off. I can't remember exactly, but all this stuff was 50% off that I picked up. Steve Earle, Train a Comin'. This is one that I just had never bit the bullet on vinyl. I don't know why. It's been on my want list, and I just never have picked it up. And so I'm so glad to see a copy of it sitting there. And not only a copy, but a real nice, beautiful used copy at Albums. I think I picked that up for around $12. Then another Jim Croce piece, real nice copy of I've Got a Name. This is a quadraphonic, which, yeah, there we go, ABC Command quadraphonic. So really, really nice. I'm not going to pull it out. Yeah, there we go. There you go. That nice label. It's got a cool little gatefold here. Couple great pictures of Jim. So always glad to add some nice Croce pieces to the collection. Nice quad piece there of I've Got a Name. And then Brian over at Shamrock and Records was talking, I think, I don't remember who was showing or playing some John Hartford, but Brian had some John Hartford on one of his most recent videos, and I thought, you know what, I need to check out and pick up. I mean, I'm obviously familiar with some of John Hartford's stuff. I have a lot of it on digital and CD and whatnot, but I want to grab some of it, started looking for it on vinyl, and lo and behold, I found this. This is Iron Mountain Depot. You know, not super expensive, but not dirt cheap either. His stuff isn't really easy to find, so I was glad to score that. Here's the other Blackfoot that I picked up on the trip, and this is Vertical Smiles. I love that. It's almost right up there with the If You Can't Lick 'Em, Lick 'Em. Ted Nugent title, but yeah, Blackfoot Vertical Smiles. It's one that I hadn't seen, and it was just a gorgeous copy. So when I picked that one up, I told Steve, I said, now I believe the only one I need is their debut. So glad to add that, closing in on the Blackfoot discography. And then Steve actually found this one for me and said, hey, if you don't have this, you definitely need to get this one. This is clean. It's super hard to find. I'm like, no, I definitely don't have it. This is, I believe, the debut of Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes, Marriage on the Rocks and Rock Bottom. I think it's a combo of their first two albums, but it's just so clean. Aside from the slightest bit of ring wear starting at the top, but it is a super hard to find album. Glad to have picked that one up. And then this one, I don't even know. Steve picked this up for me. This is, I want to make sure I'm getting it right. More Blood and Thunder. I think he said Scott Waters had originally turned him on to this, and he was like, I don't know, you know, for the cover, it looks goofy. And he's like, this dude can shred. So he ended up picking it up for me and gave it to me, and I can't wait to get home and give that a spin. So that was basically our trip. Thank you for that, Steve. We ended up going back to Steve's place where we shot the breeze for a little bit, but I had to hit the bed because I was ended up leaving bright and early to head to Florida the next morning. I think I left at like 3 or 3:30 in the morning, and this was 10:30 at night by the time we ended up wrapping it up. So I had just a few hours of sleep, and then I made the 7-hour trip down to Orlando to meet Brad and Tim, H2 Vinyl and DJ High Noon. We had a whole day, another full day of digging planned. But before I left Steve's, he ended up giving me a few things. He gave me this great copy, a nice OG copy of Kiss Alive, and this is the Robert Ludwig pressing, which I did not have. I mean, I've got a handful of copies I think I have saved whenever I went through and did my purge, but I definitely did not have a Robert Ludwig pressing, so thank you for that, Steve. That is very, very, very much appreciated. And then he actually let me go through his cassettes and said, pick out what you want. So thank you, Steve. Let's show you a couple cassettes, guys, for you cassette guys. Skid Row, Beside Ourselves, did not have this one. This is a nice little EP. Glad to have that. And then Badlands, Voodoo Highway, awesome, awesome album. I did not have this one on cassette. Beautiful copy of Rust in Peace, probably my favorite metal album right there. The Cult, Sonic Temple. These next couple were just, I wasn't familiar, but Steve said you've got to give them a try. Take these. Let me know what you think. Killed by Cain. Pretty awesome. Awesome looking. And then lastly here, Gun, Taking on the World. So there's some cassettes. Steve, thank you so much for your hospitality, brother. It is always great hanging out with you. We have so much in common. I have such a blast hanging out and talking and, just cutting up, and, it's really, really fun. Again, thank your wife, thank your daughter for their hospitality and their kindness. But guys, thank you for tuning in. We're at 30 minutes. If you hung in there this long, I really greatly appreciate it. I knew these videos were going to be long, that's why I wanted to break them up. And the next video will be, I don't think it will be as long, but it's got some serious, serious heavy hitters. Florida brought the heat this year, guys. It seriously brought the heat. So stay tuned for that. Guys, thank you as always for subscribing, commenting, liking, and just being friends. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. Take care, guys. Peace.